Welcome back to another Fit Learning video. Today we're going to continue on with the dot point for the sports and physical activity in Australian society under sport as a commodity. And this time we're looking at the economics of hosting a major sporting event. When a city decides to bid for the rights to hold a major sporting event, the costs start almost immediately, mainly because they've got to campaign for the event. So therefore, something like, for example, the Olympic Games or the FIFA World Cup, the country would basically put a lot of money into the campaign effort before they can even know if they're holding the major event. So let's look at the Olympics, for example. When Australia bid for the Olympics in 2000, they started the campaign in the early 1990s. And that included an advertisement. It included a campaign to try and convince those people who were voting for the rights to the Olympic Games and that they were capable of holding such a tournament or such an event that is internationally renowned. So advertisements, they had to show evidence that they were able to hold all the major sporting events such as, swimming, athletics, beach volleyball, judo, wrestling, cycling, shooting, all those types of events. They had to show evidence they could all hold that in about in an area.
Beside Sydney Harbour are the offices of the Sydney Olympic 2000 bid organisation. Located in the same building as the Australian Olympic Committee, the bid group meet weekly to evaluate strategy and discuss progress.
On a calendar or a metric service.
All right, the next meeting's going to be downstairs at the Australian Olympic Committee office. And Margaret will tell Bruce that it's on. We'll distribute the papers in the meantime, make the rest of the world that we're
Already a large team of specialists within the bid organisation have developed an overall plan addressing all aspects necessary for a successful Olympics. At the construction site, Sydney's enthusiasm for the bid is demonstrated by the unions involved, who have pledged and shown their commitment with a generous donation to the bid. Here at Penrith Lakes, the location for rowing and canoeing, the construction is well underway of a new internationally approved course with warm-up facilities. As important as the facilities to host the Olympics is the support and enthusiasm necessary from the local community for the event. This enthusiasm for the Sydney bid spreads out across the whole of Australia. Of equal importance to community support is the corporate sector, and through briefings and business functions, the business community has responded with support and many millions of dollars. This same support extends to the federal government, where the Prime Minister pledged spontaneous support.
I get back, but we'll put in $5 million on the way through.
So once the bid has been won, so for example, in Australia's experience at the Olympics,
The winner is Sydney, Australia.
They're the words of IOC President Juan Antonio Samaranch earlier this morning, declaring Sydney as the city to host the Olympics for the year 2000.
They run the rights to hold the Olympics in the year 2000. Then the extra costs continue. So as we all know, Australia had to build new stadiums to host. So as we know, Australia had to build new stadiums and new areas where these events could take place. So the regatta over in Penrith was built. Obviously, the Sydney Olympic Park stadiums, the Sydney Showground Stadium, Allianz Stadium had to get refurbished. And we had not just one stadium in the Sydney Olympic Park area, but we had few. It's where the stadium where the GWS and Western Sydney Wanderers play now, that was built. The Athletics Centre, the Sydney Athletics Centre, the Sydney Aquatic Centre was built. So you could imagine the amount of money that was put into hosting this event. And it cost the government and Australia quite a lot of money to hold this event. Mind you, on top of those venues was new improved transport, accommodation sites. So the athletes village had to be all built, and it's known now as Newington. And also the other organisational logistics. In hindsight, people did get employed. However, many people had to get paid to do extra jobs. So what are other major sporting events around the world? Well, we've got as I mentioned before, the Olympic Games, the FIFA World Cup. Australia's put in a bid to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup, and we've also got the World Rugby Championships, international motor racing events. So all of these events, although they do cost money, they also bring in a bit of revenue to the country. But not only that, it's giving the country a bit of a light across the world. So a lot of the world's attention is put on that country. And the country is not only recognised for the sport or for the event, but a lot of other people, tourists, take an interest in what else the country has to offer. And a lot of times tourism goes up purely because that country has hosted that major sporting event. So as I just said, that when a country is successful for the bid, it brings that international attention to them. But it also identifies a lot of pride and within that country, and again for potential in economic growth. So every now and then I go past Sydney Olympic Park for various reasons, and every day there's always tourists there who had an interest in the Sydney Olympics, and they're there just taking photos of the area. So again, it brings in the tourism. Plus, Sydney Olympic Park also have daily tours, which occurs twice to 3 times a day. And that's because of the many interests that people have in that area. So, 17, 18 years down the track, and 18 years ago the Olympics occurred, and it still has an interest with tourists. And I did the same recently. I went to Barcelona, and one of the first places I went to was where Barcelona held the Olympics in 1992. And again, the tourists were still there and had that interest. So once a country has that major sporting event, forever it stays in someone's mind, and they would like to go and visit that place, not only for that event, but they also hear a lot more about that country. So if we looked at the cost of the Olympics when Sydney held it, it cost the economy $25.2 billion. However, that was offset by a lot of income as well. So the TV rights was exclusive to Australia. So Australia got the rights to that TV, to the TV cost, and that was televised throughout the whole world. It also created a lot of jobs. So a lot more people were able to work in marketing and into the sporting fields and sporting event, and become event managers and so forth. A lot of volunteers got involved, so it created a very community feel as well. And then also it gave Australia brand new stadiums. So now we can watch the grand final in an 80,000 capacity stadium. It used to be 110,000 capacity stadium. Before that, the biggest stadium that we had in New South Wales was 40,000. So the Olympics helped us to have those world-class venues. So along with the better infrastructure and venues came a lot of corporate sponsorship as well. So because of those venues, we have now corporate seatings. So when we do have your normal competitions, whether it's rugby league, AFL, cricket or so forth, we now got those facilities to cater for those corporate businesses, and a lot more money can be put into that sport.
In 2024 or 2028. And he says that we're perfectly placed to do it. We've got all the venues in place, we've got the know-how, and because of all that, it would be a very cost-effective place to hold it. Cost is always a consideration, of course. Just launching a bid will cost $100 million, and if you win that bid, you're looking at another $3 billion to host it. By the time we get around to 2024, 2028, that figure could be a lot higher, Nat.
Yeah, amazing figures.
So that was our fourth dot point under sport as a commodity. Next, we're going to look at our final point, and that's our next video. And we're going to look at the consequences for spectators and participants of sport being a commodity.
I love a sunburned country. A land of sweeping plains. Of ragged mountain ranges. Of droughts and flooding rains. I love her far horizons. I love her jewel sea, her beauty and her terror, the wide brown land for me.
We want to share the century's dawn. A golden age will reign, where the spirit of competition burns so bright in the eternal flame. Share your hopes, share your dreams, share the spirit of the game. We all share the sense of the same dream, the same love, the same aim. The spirit is the one, the spirit's you and me. The spirit of the dream that we all share. The spirit of the dream that we all share. The spirit of sport, the spirit of sharing, the spirit of striving, the spirit of daring, the spirit of hope, the spirit of grasping a rival's hand, the spirit of challenge, the spirit of smile, the spirit of calling extra love. We want to share